Welcome to Wild Dreams. Before we begin our descent tonight, take a slow breath. Let your body loosen into stillness. If your eyes are open, you might see the quiet shimmer of moonlight on the sea. If they're already closed, imagine it. Somewhere beyond this moment, thousands of miles of water breathe in unison. If you're still awake, leave a whisper in the comments. Tell us where in the world you're watching from and what time the tide finds you tonight. Someone else, far across another ocean, is doing the same thing. The waves connect you both. Now, we go beneath them. The surface glows silver under a swollen moon. For a moment, it looks still, but nothing in the ocean is ever truly still. Each ripple, each fleck of foam carries the echo of distant winds and unseen currents. The water shifts like glass melting into motion. Then, we slip below. Light bends, color fades. The sounds of the world above, engines, footsteps, voices, vanish in an instant. Down here, time moves differently. The sea holds its own language. At first, the upper water is warm, familiar, a blue haze filled with drifting shapes. A turtle glides past, silent as a falling leaf. Small fish glitter where the moonlight filters through. But with every meter deeper, warmth drifts away and the world grows quieter. Our descent begins. Around us, plankton rise like dust motes in a cathedral of water. Each one carries a faint glow, tiny lamps that pulse in patterns older than speech. Together they form the planet's largest migration, billions of bodies rising every night toward the surface to feed, then falling again at dawn. No one witnesses it from above, yet it happens every single evening without fail. A ribbon of anchovies moves through the drifting lights, bodies shifting in perfect coordination. A silver river made of muscle and instinct. Their scales catch what remains of the moonlight, flashing and disappearing in waves. The sound here is a soft rain of clicks and faint snaps. The ocean's version of breathing. The water thickens with depth. Temperature drops. Colors retreat until only shades of blue and grey remain. We pass the last reach of true sunlight, the border scientists call the twilight zone. Below this line, light is only memory. Here, the water presses closer, a gentle weight on every surface. Pressure climbs, sound sharpens. In the dark distance, something calls. A note so deep it feels more than heard, a wail. Her voice stretches for miles, curving through the currents like a low song searching for an answer. The ocean carries her message farther than wind can travel on land. Within that sound is information, who she is, where she moves, perhaps even what she feels. Another whale may hear her hours later, hundreds of miles away, and answer. Down here, communication doesn't need light. It needs patience. We drift deeper, following the vibration through cooling water. Around us, faint lights bloom, jellies the size of coins, others as large as dinner plates. Their bells pulse slowly, turning invisible, then visible again, as if the darkness itself is breathing with them. One drifts close, a comb jelly. Along its ridges, microscopic hairs refract what little light remains, breaking it into rainbows that shimmer across its transparent body. It's alive, yet it looks like thought made visible, a dream floating through black water. Below it, a small creature with enormous eyes, a lanternfish, rises from the deep. Each scale along its side glows softly, a line of blue sparks that blink on and off in rhythm. It's one of billions that perform this nightly pilgrimage. When you imagine stars across a midnight sky, think of this. The sea has its own constellations. The deeper we move, the slower everything becomes. Even the currents hesitate here, cautious of pressure and cold. Yet life thrives. A shadow slides across the faint light above. A manta ray gliding in slow motion, its body broad as a sail, wingtips curling gracefully with each stroke. Its path cuts through plankton clouds, leaving swirling trails that drift like smoke. Far above, waves crash against unseen cliffs, but the sound never reaches here. Down here, the loudest noise is the steady rhythm of the whale's heart as she swims, still calling, still listening. We glimpse her at last, enormous, deliberate, her flippers white against the surrounding dark. Each movement seems to defy gravity. She exhales, and a cloud of silver bubbles rises, catching stray glimmers from bioluminescent drift. Then she inhales again and vanishes into blue shadow. Silence returns. Only the slow pulse of the ocean remains. A soft current brushes past, carrying flecks of organic matter, bits of shell, tiny fragments of plants, the remains of countless small lives. Scientists call it marine snow. Down here it looks like a slow, endless snowfall, feeding everything that waits below. Each flake sinks for days, sometimes weeks, before reaching the seafloor. Nothing in the ocean is wasted. Everything becomes something else. We drift among it. The rhythm of descent continues. The pressure now could crush steel, yet the creatures who live here move without effort. Their bones are flexible, their bodies filled with fluid instead of air. They are made for this place. We are only visitors. Another shape materializes, long, slender, lit from within by faint flashes. A siphonophore, a colony of many organisms functioning as one being. Its body stretches for meters, almost invisible except for pulses of light running along its length like signals down a wire. When it moves, the glow ripples through it, a living circuit hidden in endless night. The whale's call fades farther away now, replaced by the tiny crackle of shrimp snapping their claws, a distant static that fills the water with texture. It sounds almost like fire, though nothing here burns. We level out around 1,000 meters down. The water is near freezing. Above us lies a kilometer of weight, below another yet unseen. In this quiet, the ocean holds a peace humans rarely find on land. A peace born of absolute pressure and eternal motion. Every so often, a light flickers in the dark, a signal or a warning. The creatures here speak in flashes, a glowing lure dangled before an invisible mouth, a burst of light to startle a pursuer. Some flashes are attacks, others confessions. In the deep, honesty can be the difference between life and disappearance. We move near one such light. At first it seems alone, suspended. Then the shape behind it resolves, a fish with jaws like shears and eyes the color of frost. It drifts motionless, its lure swaying like a candle flame. The moment a smaller creature touches that glow, the jaws close. No noise, no struggle, just a shimmer and a cloud of drifting snow. Stillness returns. Even here, among predators and pressure, the ocean is not cruel. It is indifferent. Survival is simply the rhythm by which it breathes. We begin to rise again, following an updraft of warmer current. The change is subtle, a slight easing in the weight, a thinning of darkness. Tiny particles spiral upward, caught in the lift. Around us, the plankton begin to glow brighter. It's near midnight now above the surface, and the migration is in full motion. Millions of living lights climb toward the shallows, each following a pattern written into their cells by generations older than continents. They do not question why. They simply rise. Through them, the whale returns, her outline reappearing from below, larger than imagination. As she passes, the glowing plankton illuminate the curves of her body, turning her into a moving constellation, a celestial body swimming through an oceanic sky. She opens her mouth wide as a cave, drawing in clouds of krill. Water pours out through baleen plates, leaving food trapped behind. The movement creates a slow, deep whoosh, the ocean's equivalent of a sigh. When she closes her mouth, her body glides upward once more. She is rising to breathe. The surface grows brighter, though it's still night. Moonlight filters down in soft columns. Each shaft of light looks solid here, like glass pillars stretching from heaven into the sea. The whale breaks through the skin of the ocean. She exhales, a thunderless burst of mist and heat. The vapor catches the moonlight and turns silver. For a heartbeat, she floats half in the sky, half in the sea. Then gravity remembers her, and she sinks again. The sound of her breath fades, replaced by the hush of waves folding over themselves. Above, the moon moves slowly westward. Below, everything continues. The rise and fall, the feeding, the singing. And within that rhythm, something ancient hums, a reminder that life began here, in water, in darkness, in silence that was never empty. The longer we listen, the more we realize the ocean is not a place. It is a heartbeat stretched across the planet. It speaks in movement, in pressure, in echoes that last long after the sound itself has gone. And if you listen carefully, beneath the gentle hum of the deep, you might hear your own pulse answer. Fade to slow underwater ambience. The scene drifts onward, calm and weightless. The sound of the surface fades until there is only the pulse of current and the soft hiss of drifting sand suspended in water. The whale's silver mist dissolves above us, and darkness folds back over the sea like closing curtains. The last thread of moonlight fades. Once again, there is only the slow heartbeat of the deep. We follow her down. Pressure thickens around us. Even thought seems to move slower here. The whale's shape blurs with distance until she becomes a darker shadow inside dark water, her white fins ghosting through the gloom. Tiny bubbles rise behind her, bursting into quiet sparks of light as they meet plankton clouds. The current tilts, and we drift sideways into the vast plain between the world of sun and the world of fire. This is the ocean's middle kingdom, a place without day, without night, only an endless twilight that never ends. Around us, countless living points of light drift on invisible tides. Some flash for seconds, others stay steady, glowing faintly blue or green. Together, they make a galaxy beneath the sea. Each light is a language. I am here. I am ready. Stay away. A small jellyfish spins slowly past, its bell clear as glass. Inside, its heartbeat pulses like a small clock marking time. When the current touches it, the jelly folds and expands again, continuing its endless drift. Down here, direction has no meaning. Everything floats in slow conversation with gravity. Far off, another whale answers. The sound arrives not as a note, but as a vibration that enters through bone and water alike. The female tilts slightly, adjusting course. Her call is lower, softer, a question wrapped in patience. The reply stretches across miles before it reaches her again. Between those echoes lies everything the ocean knows about loneliness and belonging. We drift beside her, moving through thin veils of colder water. Sometimes the sea feels like different worlds, stacked one atop another. Each layer with its own temperature, its own creatures, its own dreams in one. Small red shrimp flicker in clouds. In another, long ribbons of salps form transparent chains, their bodies pulsing gently as they feed on drifting plankton. The whale glides through them without touching. Her movements disturb nothing. Even here, with lungs built for air, she belongs more completely to the ocean than any machine or diver ever will. She has learned how to be vast and invisible at once. She dives deeper. Below 1,000 meters, the darkness becomes velvet, thick enough to feel. Light no longer falls. It emanates from life itself. Tiny dots blink in patterns that seem random but are not. Some fish communicate with coded flashes, each species with its own rhythm, each message older than language. A dragonfish drifts into view. Its body is long and narrow, scales reflecting ghostly blue light. From its chin hangs a filament tipped with a glowing lure. The fish does not move. It waits, minutes stretch, pressure hums, and then movement. A smaller creature approaches, drawn to the light. The lure quivers once, twice, and then vanishes into teeth. The dragonfish swallows, jaw folding back into stillness. The ocean does not notice. It continues breathing. We pass a cloud of transparent squid, each one no longer than a hand. They flash in synchrony, bright, dark, bright again. A living Morse code. The pattern ripples through the group, like a thought spreading through a crowd. When danger approaches, they dissolve into the black, each body shutting off its light as though exhaling. Above them floats a medusa jelly the size of a table, arms trailing like long, slow ribbons. At the ends, tiny sparks shimmer. The jelly feeds on whatever touches those threads, digesting slowly, peacefully, in total silence. Even here, life moves with patience. Nothing wastes energy. The whale continues downward. Her pace is steady, unhurried. Around 1,500 meters, her heartbeat slows further. She is entering the realm where few of her kind ever travel. She dives not for prey but for calm, a place to rest, to listen. Down here, sound travels differently. Every vibration carries the weight of the world. She stops, suspended. For a moment, the entire sea seems to hold its breath with her. Then she exhales, a deep sigh that rolls through the dark like distant thunder. Bubbles spiral upward, each one a tiny silver mirror catching the faint glow of plankton as it rises past. Her body begins to ascend slowly. The effort is minimal, the ocean itself lifting her. She has been down nearly 20 minutes. She will surface soon to breathe again. But before she goes, she turns one last time toward the darkness below. Something glimmers far beneath her, a light, then several, then many. We follow her gaze, the seabed. It lies more than 2,000 meters below, but faint glows mark where life gathers around cracks in the Earth's crust. Down there, heat and minerals rise like ghostly smoke, feeding ecosystems that exist without sunlight. The sight seems impossible. A forest of chimneys exhaling white plumes into black water, surrounded by pale crabs and eyeless shrimp. We cannot reach it yet, but the whale feels it, the low vibration of geothermal breath through stone. She tilts her head slightly, then begins her slow rise. As she ascends, her world brightens by imperceptible degrees. A faint silver hue seeps into the dark, the color of distant starlight filtered through miles of water. She passes through layers of life, jellyfish, drifting chains of tunicates, a lone shark moving with the gravity of a planet. The shark's body glows faintly along its sides. It is older than continents, an ancient traveler of cold currents. For millions of years it has patrolled these depths, unchanged, perfect for what it must do. The whale glides past it, without fear. Their paths cross, but their worlds remain separate. Far above, lanternfish begin their nightly rise again. It is always night here, yet their instinct follows the faint cues of the moon. As they climb, their bodies pulse with bioluminescent light, painting the water in scattered constellations. They look like a reflection of the stars themselves, drifting upward instead of down. The whale moves through them, leaving a swirl of glowing turbulence behind. Her body brushes the current, and thousands of lights scatter like fireflies disturbed by a breeze. For a few seconds, the sea becomes a mirror of the sky, stars above, stars below. When she finally reaches the upper thermocline, the temperature shifts sharply. The sound of her own body changes. She rises faster now, lungs demanding air. The world lightens, first dark blue, then smoky silver. Another few strokes, and she breaks through. Her breath bursts outward, catching the first hint of dawn. The sky above is a pale gradient between night and day. Clouds hover low, reflecting early light back onto the sea. For a heartbeat she hangs there, eye above water, watching. Then she sinks again, her massive tail lifting a curtain of foam before disappearing beneath it. The ocean calms. Light thickens in bands through the upper layers. The smaller creatures who followed her ascent drift away. Some sink, some linger near the surface where warmth returns. The plankton's glow fades. Their night has ended. In the stillness left behind, we remain suspended, surrounded by slow spirals of bubbles. The pressure eases, sound broadens again, the whisper of current, the faint creak of distant waves. A new voice joins the water, faint, high, almost delicate. Dolphins, their clicks scatter through the upper ocean like shards of glass. They move too quickly to see, flashes of silver passing through beams of growing light. They are creatures of morning, feeding where the darkness ends. Below them, the whale circles once more. She will travel on for many days before reaching warmer seas, guided only by the map written in sound and magnetic pull. The ocean will change around her, from deep indigo to turquoise, from quiet to chorus, but the rhythm will stay the same. Breathe, dive, rise, rest. We linger at the edge of her path, where deep blue meets light. The surface above rolls gently, thin veils of foam stretching, breaking, reforming. The horizon brightens slightly, not sunrise yet, but the promise of it. Down here, dawn is felt before it's seen. The water carries its tone long before light can reach this far. For now, we drift in balance. The darkness below hums with distant life. The brightness above softens into reflection. Between them is silence that feels infinite. Listen. You can still hear her last call echoing through the miles, low, resonant, endlessly patient. It fades, returns, fades again, until it becomes part of the ocean's background hum. The voice of a single creature folded into the heartbeat of the planet. Somewhere beyond hearing, another answers, and the sea begins to sing again. The ambient sound deepens, soft whale song layered under slow currents and faint crackle, fading gradually toward stillness. The low hum of the deep becomes softer, until it's almost gone. The water thickens with silence. Then, beneath everything, a slow vibration begins, a pulse that isn't an animal at all. The ocean floor. It rises out of darkness like the surface of another planet. Ridges of black basalt, dusted with pale sediment, sloping into valleys that never see light. Here, every contour holds its own gravity. Every movement of current reshapes centuries of stillness. At first glance, it seems lifeless, but then the shadows move. White crabs, their shells ghostly and smooth, walk sideways across the rocks. Transparent shrimp drift above cracks in the crust. Where warm water seeps upward, small worms ripple from holes, their feathery gills catching invisible currents. Life, delicate, patient, thrives where no sunlight has ever fallen. Ahead, thin plumes of shimmering water rise from the ground, twisting upward like smoke. They are hydrothermal vents, chimneys built from minerals carried by heat inside the earth. The temperature within them could melt metal, yet only meters away the water is near freezing. Between those extremes, entire communities live, feeding not on light, but on chemistry. Bacteria swirl in dense clouds, turning heat and minerals into energy. They are the architects of this hidden city, the first step in a chain that nourishes everything else. Tube worms taller than a person stand in clusters, their white casings waving gently. At their tips, crimson plumes open and close, breathing chemicals instead of air. The sight is unreal, a slow-motion garden blooming in perpetual night. Tiny crabs pick among the worms. Blind fish weave between vent columns, their pale bodies shining faintly in the mineral glow. Everything here moves carefully, conserving energy, as if every gesture is measured. To live at this depth is to understand patience so completely that movement itself becomes a form of prayer. The soundscape changes. It is not silence now, but the faint hiss of escaping gases, the quiet hiss of heat meeting cold. The water trembles slightly. Even stone seems to breathe. We drift closer to one vent, the warmth brushing against us. The shimmer distorts the shapes beyond, bending light as if the sea were a lens. Above the vents, particles rise like slow fireworks, settling back in pale snow that coats the rocks, the marine snow that began far above. Fragments of life and death falling endlessly, lands here to feed another world. Nothing in the ocean is wasted. What ends in one layer begins again in the next. A squat lobster pauses on the edge of a vent, claws extended into the flow. The heat would kill most creatures instantly, yet this small survivor holds its ground. Harvesting the bacteria that cling to the rising minerals, its shell glows faintly orange under the vent's strange light, as if lit from within. Beyond the vents, the seabed stretches into plains of silt. Strange tracks cross them, marks left by creatures that move only once every few days. A brittle star unfurls its arms and glides, weightless. Across the sediment, a sea cucumber inches forward, leaving a looping trail behind. Their progress is so slow that time itself feels different here. Hours blur into motion that can barely be seen. Far above, the whale's last song still echoes faintly. The vibrations reach even here, rolling through the water like a memory of something distant. The crabs freeze for an instant, sensing it through their shells, then resume their endless work. Sound, life, and heat mingle together, the three languages of the deep. We move along the seafloor for what feels like hours. The darkness remains absolute, but our eyes, imagining through narration, learn to read texture instead of color. Every ridge, every ripple of sediment becomes luminous in its own way. There is beauty here that no sunlight could ever create. Eventually, the vents fade behind us. The ground begins to slope upward again, toward cooler, calmer water. With each meter of ascent, pressure lessens by a fraction, and the temperature drops back toward freezing. Small flakes drift upward past us. The slow snow of carbon and shell, feeding unseen mouths along the way. A shape moves ahead. At first, it looks like a shadow. Then a curve of motion resolves. A giant jellyfish, its bell wide as a room. It pulses once, twice, the edges glowing with faint violet light. Filaments trail below like threads of silk, each 1 kilometers long. The jelly drifts upward through a storm of falling particles, a living ghost sailing through endless night. Following it, we climb through layers of life, shrimp, eels, ribbon-like worms, each adapted to the cold, each existing in numbers beyond imagination. They are rarely seen, but together they shape the balance of the entire planet. Every breath of air above land, every change of weather, carries traces of the ocean's silent chemistry below. Currents begin to rise from the depths, slow spirals of warmer water drawn from faraway continents. They carry nutrients upward, carbon, minerals, fragments of decay, feeding plankton closer to the surface. The ocean breathes in circles, never wasting, never hurrying. Everything returns to everything else. We continue to ascend. The water grows slightly lighter, though it is still dark. There is a sense of movement ahead. Pressure waves from larger bodies. Then, faintly, a new sound emerges. A long, low groan that repeats at intervals ice. The voice of ancient glaciers shifting and cracking somewhere far above. We are approaching the high latitudes where the sea meets cold air and sheets of frozen water drift. Down here, those movements translate into whispers that travel for miles. The ocean listens to its own ceiling creak and sigh. A seal drifts past, sleek and silver, using the faint echoes from ice above to orient itself. Its whiskers quiver as it turns, catching the turbulence of our passing. It opens one dark eye, curious, then swims on, disappearing into haze. Above it, faint light begins to scatter through the water, the first hint of dawn returning to the surface. The glow is not strong, just enough to outline small shapes. Jellyfish, plankton, drifting snow. Each flake now glints for a moment before melting into shadow again. As we rise, the number of creatures increases. Tiny copepods whirl like dust in a sunbeam. Silvery fish hover head down, feeding on what the currents bring. Their scales reflect faint blue light, turning the space around them into a soft shimmer. The water feels alive again after the dense quiet of the seafloor. We ascend through layers where cold and warmth meet. Each boundary ripples like glass. The shift between them creates low sounds, a deep, slow beating that seems to match the rhythm of the whale's distant heart, even without sight. The ocean finds ways to keep time. Minutes stretch, the light grows. It's still night at the surface, but morning has begun its slow approach. The plankton start their downward journey, sinking back towards safety before the sun's first touch. The sea's great migration reverses itself as it does every day, unseen by nearly every eye. We move with them for a while, falling gently through the fading glow. Each creature, from the smallest speck to the largest whale, is part of this eternal breathing. Up at night, down by day, the planet's quiet pulse. Far below, the vents still glow, their plumes curling upward like candle smoke. Above, the light spreads wider. The gradient of blue brightens into grey, then silver. The water softens around us, Temperature climbs slightly. We are within reach of the surface now, close enough that the sound of waves begins to return, muted, rhythmic, like a lullaby remembered from long ago. We pass the silhouettes of drifting jellyfish, each bell catching dawn's first rays like stained glass. Between them swim small fish with translucent fins, their bodies turning gold in the growing light. The darkness that once seemed endless now thins into gentle color. Up ahead, air, the final barrier between two worlds. We slow, rising with the rhythm of the waves above. The surface ripples overhead, shifting with soft light. The whale appears again, far off, a moving mountain in the silver haze. She rises beside her calf, small, new to the world, still learning how to breathe. They break the surface together. The sound is soft, a twin exhale merging into one. Mist rises, catches the dawn, and drifts away. The calf dives first, clumsy, tail slapping lightly. The mother follows, guiding it downward into safety once more. The sea calms again, folding over them like silk, and finally the sun, a pale edge above the horizon, touching each wave with gold. Light spears through the shallows, revealing colors long forgotten. Coral, sand, turquoise bands of clarity. The deep world below remains, waiting for night to return. But for now it rests. The ocean has completed another breath. Everything that rose has returned. Everything that fed will drift downward again when darkness comes. The rhythm continues, without pause, without need of witness. We linger just below the surface, watching the world glow. Each droplet carries reflections of sky and memory. Every heartbeat of the sea matches our own. The sounds fade until there is only the hush of distant waves. The night has ended, but its calm remains. The voices beneath the waves grow quiet. The water warms, stretching into day. If you are still awake, let the rhythm carry you. Let it slow your thoughts until they move like currents, steady, circular, endless. The ocean will hold you. The night will return soon enough. For now, drift. Sleep. Soft ambient ocean sounds continue. Low swell, faint whale song far away. Water folding gently into silence. The ocean's surface softens, holding the first light of day like a mirror. The wind slows. Even the waves seem to hesitate, balanced between movement and rest. The night is ending, but it doesn't feel gone. It lingers in the spaces between ripples, in the quiet hum beneath the water's skin. For a moment, both worlds exist at once. The cool stillness of the deep and the bright promise of morning. And within that moment, the sea begins to dream. Currents shift direction, gentle eddies twisting in wide circles. They carry warmth from the shallows and cold from the abyss, blending them into slow-moving spirals that wrap the ocean like a heartbeat made visible. The surface glitters, then darkens, then glitters again, reflections passing like thought across the mind of water. Drifting within it all is a single feather. It might have come from a seabird miles away, lifted by the wind during the night. Now it floats weightless, spinning slowly, tracing invisible paths on the sea's breathing skin. Each turn catches a thread of light. Each shadow hides another color. It becomes the ocean's memory, a small, silent witness to everything that lives beneath. Beneath it, shoals of silver fish begin to stir. They move together, shifting shape as one vast, shining body. From above, they look like liquid glass. From below, like sunlight itself. The sea wraps around them as if reluctant to let them go. Farther out, the whale and her calf travel toward warmer water. They swim side by side, their flukes rising and falling in the same slow rhythm. Sometimes the calf drifts ahead, sometimes behind, always returning to her side. Their bodies trace arcs of motion so smooth they seem choreographed by the current. Every few minutes the mother exhales, a long sigh that breaks the surface into mist, then inhales again, pulling the ocean inside. Each breath sounds like contentment. Above them, seabirds begin to wake. They hover over the water, wings spread to catch faint updrafts of air. Their reflections ripple, distorting with the waves, until it's impossible to tell which is bird and which is sky. They dive one by one, vanishing into the surface with soft splashes that echo briefly before fading back into calm. The sea is alive again, yet quieter than before. Even its motion feels slower, heavier, as though it too needs rest. And perhaps, in its own way, the ocean does sleep. Not all at once, but in rhythms, in tides, in pauses between storms. The earth turns, the water moves, and within that cycle, there is always a moment of stillness. We drift within that stillness now, down through the shallows, where sunlight dances across sand in patterns that never repeat. Each flicker, each shimmer, is a language of light, gentle, wordless, infinite. Tiny shells lie half buried in the seabed, catching glints of gold as the water sways above them. Hermit crabs trace spirals through soft silt, carrying their homes on their backs like memories they can never put down. Anemones open and close with the rhythm of waves, each movement deliberate, unhurried. The whole ocean seems to breathe together, one great pulse connecting every grain of sand to every cloud drifting high above. Farther down the coast, coral reefs bloom beneath the awakening light. Their shapes rise like ancient cities built from color, towers of purple, spires of red, domes of pale blue. Fish move between them like thoughts through a dream, flickering in and out of view. Some glide alone, some gather in clouds so dense they seem to glow from within. The water thickens with life, soft fins, translucent wings, drifting strands of seaweed catching in the current. A turtle glides slowly through this waking city. Her shell is worn, edges roughened by years of tides. She moves with the calm of one who has seen storms and still chooses to float. Each stroke of her flippers sends her drifting through beams of light, dusted with suspended sand. She passes through a cloud of tiny fish that scatter and reform behind her, as if she were a moving island the sea itself respects. The world above her grows brighter, but down here, light bends and softens. It's never harsh, always filtered through water, always kind. Even the shadows shimmer gently, as if they too are alive. She rises toward the surface, breaks through, and rests there, floating between the weight of the world below and the whisper of air above. The waves cradle her. She closes her eyes. The ocean's slow rocking lulls her into stillness. In that stillness, something changes. The line between sea and sky begins to blur. Clouds reflect on the water until they look like islands. The horizon dissolves, and for a moment, there is no direction, no up or down, no surface or deep, only motion without edge, only calm without thought. We drift again, suspended between waking and sleep. Sound stretches, slows, fades. The cries of distant birds become echoes. The rhythm of waves becomes breathing. The heartbeat of the ocean becomes the rhythm of your own. You are floating now. The sea has taken the weight from you. Your body, your thoughts, even your name, all of it drifts, soft as foam. The current knows where to carry you. It moves slowly, endlessly, without need for maps or memories. It carries everything, and it never forgets how to return to stillness. Imagine the surface above you, a moving mirror reflecting sky and stars. Now imagine sinking just beneath it, far enough that sound and air fade into one long hum. You can still see the light filtering down, soft and silver, the color of peace. Every motion slows to the pace of dreams. You open your hands, and the water holds them. You open your mind, and the sea holds that too. In this space, there is no difference between ocean and sky, between water and air, between you and the world that breathes around you. There is only one thing: stillness. And in that stillness, the whale sings again, low, melodic, endless. Her voice is softer now, like a lullaby whispered from miles away. It travels through the water and finds you, wraps around you, cradles you. Each note tells you that the night is safe, that the ocean will keep its watch, that the world continues quietly, patiently, beautifully. Drift with her voice a little longer. Let it carry you outward. Let it widen the space between thoughts until nothing remains but calm. The world fades at the edges, and yet it feels fuller than before. Every movement of the sea becomes the rise and fall of your own chest. Every ripple, a heartbeat. Every silence, an invitation to rest. The dream current moves beneath you, gentle, constant, infinite. You are part of it now. You have always been part of it. Soft waves overlap with slow whale song, distant, harmonic. The sound stretches and fades, dissolving into a tranquil hush. Soft ocean ambience continues. The sound of slow waves, a distant whale song, and the hush of air bubbles rise and fade. A heartbeat-like rhythm thrums underneath, so quiet it almost feels imagined. The ocean rests now. The currents slow, the waves flatten, and the world above begins to breathe again. Everything that lives beneath these waters, every plankton, every fish, every drifting shape, sinks into the rhythm of sleep. The sea exhales, and you, listening now, are part of that breath. Take a long, easy inhale. Hold it for a moment, then release it. Gently, like water finding its way back to shore. You've traveled far tonight. From the glow of moonlight on the surface to the gardens of fire at the ocean's floor. You've moved through pressure, silence, and song. Each layer of the sea has shared a part of itself, and now those layers settle inside you, calm, quiet, complete. Let the water hold you for a while. There's nothing to do here, no destination left to reach. The journey is over, and the night keeps watch. Imagine yourself drifting in that slow blue world, weightless, floating just beneath the surface. The water is warm, the current soft. It carries you without effort. You rise and fall with each gentle swell, your body moving with the rhythm of the ocean's breathing. Each wave cradles you a little longer. Each pause between sounds grows wider, deeper, quieter. Somewhere far below, a whale calls again. Not loud, not demanding, just a low vibration that hums through the water like comfort. You can feel it in your chest, the same way you feel your own heartbeat when the world is still. You don't need to listen for it. It's already there, woven into the quiet. The ocean around you glows faintly, not bright, just enough to see outlines. Your reflection in the moving water, the shimmer of small lives drifting past, the gentle shimmer of bubbles rising to the air. The world has softened. Even the horizon is fading. There is only this slow, living calm. Now, take another breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let your thoughts move like waves, appearing, cresting, dissolving, each one smaller than the last, each one drifting a little farther away. The sea is ancient. It remembers the beginning of the world. It remembers how to rest. And tonight, it remembers you. Every sound you hear now, the low hum, the whispering foam, the distant pulse of life, is part of a rhythm older than memory. It doesn't ask anything of you. It simply invites you to join it. You float deeper into stillness. Your breathing slows. Your heartbeat settles into that vast, steady tempo. Even your eyelids feel heavier, like shells closing against gentle tide. You are safe here, surrounded by warmth, by quiet, by the patient calm of the sea. If your mind begins to wander, let it. Let it drift across images like light on water, a whale rising through starlit waves, the faint glow of plankton swirling like constellations, the echo of a song carried for miles. All of it softens, folds, and blends into one sound, the sound of the world sleeping. Far above, dawn begins to stretch across the horizon. The first rays touch the sea, and everything glitters for a moment. But here, below, the light is only a pale whisper. It moves through the water slowly, and when it reaches you, it doesn't wake you. It soothes you. It feels like warmth, like peace. You might notice your breathing again, steady, easy, your body heavy and light all at once. You are floating between worlds, not fully awake, not quite asleep, just resting in the space the ocean keeps for dreamers. Let that space widen. Let it fill with the sound of water folding over water, waves folding over waves, time folding over time. Nothing needs to be done. No thought needs to be held. Everything is already drifting away, like tide leaving shore. The ocean will keep moving, even when you sleep. It will rise and fall in the rhythm of your breath. It will hum softly beneath your dreams. It will hold you as it holds everything. For tonight, that's all that matters. You are floating. You are safe. You are home. Let go now. Let yourself sink into rest. The waves will cradle you until morning. And when you wake, the world will still be here, quiet and blue, waiting to begin again. Sleep well, traveler. The ocean will sing you through the night. And your dreams, they will drift, wild and endless, beneath the waves.